All right, I do believe I am live. Hello, everyone. Tiffany Carroll here, and welcome to Know Your Creator Type. One moment, I'm going to make a little adjustment to my settings here. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that we're together. And we're going to dive in this time with the Alchemist Creator Type, the Alchemist. It's a little mysterious. Before that, oh, good. There's people on. Can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody see me okay? If you could type into the chat. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Or maybe the chat's not working. Let's try. Oh, great. Okay. Hi, Denise. Perfect. Oh, good, good. I'm so happy that y'all are on. And I'm so happy for anyone that tunes into this at any point that you tune into it, which is the perfect time for you to receive it. Feel that you connected to this message, to me, us, heart to heart, at the perfect time for you. That there is something here for you right now, and it's something important, and it's connected to your power. Feeling that intention at this onset. Okay, so before we dive into the Alchemist, which is so rich, I want to set a little bit of quick context because some people may hop on this without having visited the previous videos. If you're hopping on for the first time, I do encourage you to go back and watch the improviser videos and watch the introductory video for the 5 creator types. And a little synopsis is these 5 creator types are based on the Chinese 5 elements. They're my own offering and articulation in relationship to both my background and my expertise in the Chinese 5 elements, which is vast and has a lot of history, and then also my work, particularly with creators, including myself. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds, really thousands of creators at this point, and really studied like the different ways that creators create, the different themes of pitfalls and the different themes of gifts. And my desire for this with you and with me is that we can adopt a different way of orienting to ourselves on creative path, that we can adopt a way that's much more flowing and much more rich and much more genuinely accepting of the totality of who we are, so that we're not shoving away pieces and parts of ourselves and then creating all of this shadow locked away in the closets of our house that comes out to haunt us when we start to expand. This way of working, if you get to know your creator type, but you have all the creator types in you, this is important. You have 1 or 2 that you probably are really gifted and they come easily, but it doesn't mean that you don't have the other creator types. If you can understand both where you easily excel, where you are challenged, and that through the intentionality and the choice to develop your ability to move between them as it's needed, that you can be freed up from this sort of the broken mentality that somehow you need to psychologically fix yourself in order to be the creator that you want to be. What I say is that you are the creator that you are. Claim that, because that's what the world needs now. Can we get better? Do we psychologically develop as we create? Of course, of course. But if we're orienting around, I'm broken because I don't create like this, or I'm not getting enough momentum, or I'm not making the money that I want from all the things that can come up, then we get stuck. And when we're stuck, we're not creating. And we were meant to create. All of us were meant to create, and all of us create in our own ways. And the foundation of a healthy life, the foundation of healthy relationships, is being able to be in and choose creative flow as a natural expression of who we are, why we're here. Okay? Yes, let's get started. So the last 2 weeks we looked at the improviser, and The improviser and the alchemist are on a vertical axis like this in this particular model. So generally, you're going to see me put the improviser at the top, even though this represents the south on the medicine wheel. It's kind of a quirky thing when we're looking at this model in Chinese medicine. But up here is fire, improviser, the south, summertime. Down here is the alchemist, water, wintertime, and the emotion fear. So first thing that I'm going to do is give kind of a spattering of some of the correspondences or the themes in relationship to the alchemist. And what I'd like you to do is, if you can, is close your eyes and feel the energy of each of these words or phrases as they come, and just notice how they land with you. Notice what you notice about your experience. Okay. They don't have to make sense. I'm going to unpack them after. Magic of mystery. Something emerges from no thing. Emptiness. Not already knowing. Not linear. Not practical. Faith and fear and the relationship between the two. Blue, black, darkness. To go where others dare not. To be compelled to. To reveal that which is hidden. True power, legacy, immortality, meditation, and unacknowledged fear. I want us to be together for a moment with that last word, that last phrase, unacknowledged fear. Yes, good. See what it's like to drop even more into this silence for a little spot of time. Yes. And as we emerge out of this, just noticing if you didn't want to drop into that silence, if you felt like it was a waste of time or you wanted more of it, whatever your thought relationship was to that invitation to drop into silence. In Chinese medicine, the water element, which is associated with the alchemist, is also associated with the number 1 in numerology. And it's said that in Taoism, that there's that which cannot be named, but if we have to give it a name, we call it the Tao. And this is a gross oversimplification of a beautiful philosophy, but in essence, there is no thing, and then there's something to emerge from no thing. This is the beginning, if you will. And this movement from no thing to the first thing, to no thing to the first thing. You were no thing, but existed as no thing. And then you came forth in the union of your father's sperm and your mother's egg as embryo, birthed from the birth canal into form. You came from no thing. So this theme of the mystery of something coming from nothing, of the fundamental foundation of creativity is emptiness. This is why if we keep pushing forth and like productive type creativity. I got to produce, I got to produce, I got to produce, I got to produce, that we burn out, because ultimately the unlimited resourcing for creativity comes from this emptiness. It comes from not already knowing. Elementally, seasonally, or seasonally, I should say, it comes from the winter time, and everything that goes along with this idea of wintertime, of becoming more still, of the temperature being cold, of seeds under the ground, storing the destiny of the plant that's to come in the spring. These are all the themes and the energies of water element and of the alchemist. So now I want you to feel in your own experience, how did these kinds of themes, or this quality of relationship to the mystery of life, to the not already known, how do those come through in your creative expression in life? How do they come through in your conversations with yourself or with others? If you're a content creator, how does it come through in your content? If you create what we more traditionally know as art, how does it come through in your art? While certainly there are particular people, and you'll get to find out during this time together if you're one of them, um, are much more natural and easeful in this zone, the alchemist zone. All of us need to develop ourselves in this zone, our capacity to touch into this zone in order to be eternally resourced as creators, eternally resourced from the no thing. That just reminded me of the movie The Never Ending Story. Did you see that? There was wasn't it the no thing that was devouring the planet? Okay, so let's dive in some really practical ways here. We're going to unpack this. I want to share with you in this video, we're going to cover what the alchemist needs. Actually, probably what I'll do first is, what does it look like when the alchemist is off, or when the alchemist inside of you is off? And what does the alchemist inside of you, or the alchemist type, need in order to thrive and in order to have permissions to create in the unique and powerful way that they create? And then in our next video, what we'll get into is the particular tools and hacks, if you will, for the alchemist, and also the best containers for the alchemist to create within. Ready? Ready, ready? I'm gonna smell an oil. This blend is one of my all-time favorite blends that I made for supporting the alchemist and water element. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, it's pretty hard with my light. It's called Legacy, and it has black spruce, frankincense, nutmeg, pimento berry, and rose, and then one incredible little kind of secret ingredient that is a special thing that we found in India. This is a blend that I made for Monara Essential Oils. I'll put the link to it in the show notes, in the live notes, if you want to check it out. But this is an excellent go-to blend for balancing the alchemist energy, or for claiming or inviting in more of the alchemist energy. So I'm actually going to take, while we're talking about what happens when the alchemist is off, I'm going to take a little bit and put it on my sacrum. And if you have black spruce, or you want to use another woody oil as we dive into this, I think that would be nice and supportive. Other oils that are nice and supportive, well, actually, I'm going to save that for the next video. I get ahead of myself. Okay. So first, let's look at what happens when the alchemist is off. or the alchemist within you is off. So first of all, the alchemist more than the other creator types will feel anxious and fearful, and that can be connected to them being forever distracted. Because usually, if we're habitually and pathologically distracting ourselves from doing what we say we really want to do or pursuing the things that we say that we really want, it's usually because there's fear there. And it's generally fear of the unknown. It's not like most that people that are avoiding something because of fear say, I'm afraid right now, so I'm avoiding it. It's more like they're caught up in the distractions and they're aware that they feel anxious. But connected to anxiety is generally an underlying fear. W- The fear and anxiety picture in relationship to the alchemist has a lot to do with their relationship to power. We're going to talk more about that as we go. So, anxious and fearful, forever distracted, um, projects fears outward or amplifies them internally. So this can look a lot of different ways. I mean, we all know what it's like to project our fears outward. I think the lesser known, um, or the phenomena with lesser awareness in it is how we project our fears inward, and we use that to sort of regulate ourselves, but from a place of like a fearful disciplinarian or a fearful or worrisome voice. They when the alchemist is off, they will tend to either go into a dominating relationship with others or with their project, or a submissive relationship to others or to their project. And the reason why this is important is because, I mean, the polarity of domination and submission is something that exists, and we could even say that perhaps there's healthy expressions of it and unhealthy expressions of it. I'm talking about it in an unhealthy way, where the alchemist is actually trying to access more of their power through taking on a role of either dominating over another or over the project, or being submissive to it. So that can look like, I think the dominating part is more obvious. The submissive part is, for me, how that will manifest is that I I get afraid, I get overwhelmed, and then I just kind of get flattened. Like I don't rise up into the energy. That's how it will manifest in me. Um, and by the way, when we're in a pathological orientation with the dominator and submissive, we are in power manipulations. We just are. We're going to be in them. We'll be in power manipulations with ourselves or with others. Gets stuck in fear loops and avoids leaps of faith. And leaps of faith are directly connected to the reclamation of power. Part of the alchemist journey is to reclaim and become more and more the embodiment of power in this life. Gets stuck in fear loops and avoids leaps of faith, which are directly connected to power up levels. Another way of saying this is you can get frozen in fear or anxiety or overthinking. Sometimes it's just feeling like overthinking, but underneath it is the anxiety and the fear. Can you relate? Has distorted relationships to resources. So when the alchemist is off, they're generally off with resources. And so the resource can be money, the resource can be time. They could be panicked around time all the time, panicked around money all the time. Um, but there is this sense of like not having the power in relationship to resources. So there's this funky behavior in relationship to managing the resources. Takes unnecessary risks that can be sabotaging in nature. So there's definitely, and if you've heard me in videos before, you hear me talk a lot about risking for yourself, risking for your vision, risking for your creation, risking for your education. This is huge and it's enormously important. I'm not talking about that kind of risk. I'm talking about entering into a risk from a place of being totally distorted with resources and it being driven by fear, covered up by probably a domination or submission dynamic. And so there's almost this sense of like gambling, but not connected to the heart. Because I know when I've risked big for myself on some level, I'm like, oh my God, I'm kind of like gambling here. But there's a knowing in my heart in regards to it. This is very different. There's almost like a rushing away from oneself because of the fear, and then doing the thing that's like an abuse of resources, and a real um like blind risk is how I would describe it, which can be sabotaging. Okay, great. Gosh. Okay. I was thinking to myself, I was going to keep these videos at about 20 minutes, but we got a few more minutes. We got a few more minutes. Okay. This is what the alchemist needs. And then remember to tune in next week because I'm going to actually go into how these needs translate into practical things that we can all put into place to either develop our alchemist energy and capacity, or to claim more of these gifts that we already have and to strengthen them. So the alchemist needs permissions to be in the not already knowing. Permissions to be in the not already knowing. This is essential to the alchemist, which means that when the alchemist is creating, they have to be able to claim the space of not already knowing and then just flowing out from there. They don't, but for a painter, like, don't know what the next brush stroke is going to be. I don't know what the next word on the paper is. I don't know what the next thing is I'm going to say to you. This is the zone of the alchemist, to be able to emerge from no thing. It's enormously important that they have permissions to do that and to create in that way. Tools to acknowledge, feel, and transmute fear on the spot. That's what we're going to talk about next week. Permissions to not believe and believe, but also the power to align with something beyond this polarity. So, alchemists, because of the relationship of alchemists with faith, it's really important for alchemists to have full permissions to believe something and to not believe something, and to have an allegiance to something that's beyond that polarity, if you will. And that allegiance to something that's beyond that polarity, we can call it an allegiance to faith. Again, we'll go deeper into that next week. To embrace mystery. The alchemist has to embrace mystery. And there's really fun ways that the alchemist can embrace mystery. And that's this is like the teaser for next week. So next week is when I'm going to share that with you. Permissions to be still and quiet and take a pause at any moment. You all see me do this often, where I'll stop and pause. I'll close my eyes, or I'll stop and I'll look off in the distance, and I'll be quiet for a moment. That is me attuning to my alchemist ability to balance my improviser, and that's intentional. Permissions to stream the unknown to the known via faith portals. Let me say that again. Permissions to stream the unknown to the known via faith portals, leaps of faith. And this is an example that I'll give you, and we'll end on this note, is it was in Lord of the Rings, actually, in one of them. I don't remember which one. Frodo it was epic, has the ring. These monsters are coming. His friends are falling away. It seems like the end of the world, and everything's against him. And he gets to this precipice, and there's like this abyss. He just looks down, and it's a completely black abyss. Talk about the unknown. Oh, there's nothing there. And this giant, like, demon monster thing is coming. And he has only the choice to stay there and be, eaten or disintegrated by this thing, or to take a step. And it was kind of like the journey up until this point had been so odds wildly stacked against him that it's almost like, well, what what the heck. But there was a choice that was made in that moment for him to take a step, even though the only thing that he could see was the unknown. And what was and he all he knew that he wasn't gonna go back, and he couldn't stay put and survive. And so he puts his foot out and takes a step, and a step rises up to meet his foot. And then he does it again, takes a step, and it's not until he takes the step that the step rises up to meet his foot. So this is the playground, if you will, and the challenge zone for the alchemist is to, how did I phrase it? Permissions, permissions to stream the unknown to the known via faith portals. Powerful, powerful, powerful medicine that the alchemists bring in to this world through their ways of creating. So, I would love to know what you think about this. You can put it in the comments, like the video. I think you can do that. I don't know if you can do it live stream, but you could do it after the fact. Share the video, please. I would love to get this out to as many people as possible and to spread this goodness, really, that we can work with ourselves in much more delightful and integrating ways than we're generally taught. And then next week, when we're together, I'll be unpacking and sharing with you about the hacks, the tools, as well as oils specifically for the alchemist and for the alchemist inside each of us. I'm so happy to be together with you. And from my heart to yours, until next week. Thank you.